great if we could do something, but they have to open it up. They have to open up the strait of Hormuz.
In all seriousness, the strait cannot remain closed or be under the control of a terrorist organization like the IRGC. So that is definitely going to be something that changes. Now, Marco Rubio, according to the New York Times, said that, and I quote, "We can achieve all our objectives without ground troops." This is from the Secretary of State. And Europe is already making post-war plans to escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz after the war ends. And President Trump has also said, and I quote, "We have another 3,554 targets left." And this will bring the number to approximately 20,000 over the course of, again, an approximate 6-week period when all is said and done. And this is the target list that they generated prior to the conflict. So they had an extensive target list that they wanted to prosecute prior to other operations. And those other operations may or may not include countries of interest. Trump has long railed against NATO and other countries that are affected by the oil going through the Strait of Hormuz, even opening the door to China for assistance. And I think there is a psychological component that the administration is playing on the world with regards to how they should be looking at the policing of the Strait of Hormuz and who should manage it. Maybe it shouldn't be under the nose or thumb of the IRGC, and maybe it should be managed by a consortium of international interests that purchase the oil through that strait. Who knows? Maybe that is going to be a potential outcome. But one could extend that even further, as the strait has implications on global energy markets, and so we are all affected. And so that's why Trump is railing against NATO for their lackluster approach to any kind of support. But then they're getting mixed messages because Marco Rubio has come out and said that we're not actually asking Europe to provide any military support during these current operations. And yet from the president, they're getting lambasted, raked over the coals for not providing any support. So I can understand the confusion, and I would actually go ahead and call Trump out on this. If he is so angry that countries in NATO are unwilling to provide support and framing it as lack of support from NATO, then take it to an Article 5 discussion. Hold an Article 4, take it to an Article 5 vote, and see where it lands. Make the claim that the Strait of Hormuz is an existential threat to the entire global order, and that thus it affects European countries. And so America is intrinsically attacked, and we're all intrinsically attacked, and we should all come together as a coalition to take control of the strait and bring stability to the region. Make that argument if you're going to be so upset about it. Circling back to what Marco Rubio said about being able to accomplish all of our objectives without putting any boots on the ground, people don't believe that because they believe that part of this objective is actually to secure the Strait of Hormuz and ensure that it is stable. That's actually not one of the listed objectives. And these objectives have been on display and outlined on day one. Trump even did it in his first 8-minute speech, but the media and social media talking heads and supposed geopolitical experts will tell you that the reasoning has changed day by day and they don't even know why we're in this war or anything like that. And they're just really not paying attention, and they're doing it on purpose. Now, the first 5 are what could be considered core objectives, and let's go ahead and go through them. Destroy Iran's ballistic missile arsenal and production capacity. We're doing that right now. Destroy Iran's drone capability. We're doing that right now. Annihilate Iran's navy. Almost completely gone. Degrade Iran's air force. Completely gone. Sever Iran's support to terrorist proxies. We're doing that right now. Now, those are the core objectives, and if we achieve those through an air campaign, then technically mission accomplished. Not even technical. That would be by definition mission accomplished. But the overarching reason, and not necessarily a core objective, is to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. All these together prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. And then you have the secondary objectives like strike elements of the regime's security apparatus judged to pose an imminent threat. Of course, that's ongoing. And achieve these objectives without ground invasion if possible. And that one was honestly added last today by the media, if you will, because of Marco Rubio's statements. And that, if possible, is important because the Trump administration has always reserved the right to use ground troops. Why would they tie their hands behind their backs by not using the full force and might of the U.S. military? That would be insane. That'd be silly. And so as president has announced that he is going to delay attacking the IRGC or the Iranian energy sector for another 10 days, everybody already knows this is just a delay tactic until the Marine Expeditionary Units arrive so they can begin planning for possible ground operations. One of the things they have to plan to is any current targets that are on the ground in Iran, and these are the current force laydown prior to the operation, and I guarantee these targets are either destroyed or in the process of being destroyed. And I want to take a moment to talk about the Marines that are headed to the area, to include the 82nd Airborne. They have conducted training 24/7, 365 to conduct these type of operations, these raids, these amphibious assaults, seizing of an island or of a key terrain. And so while America's fathers and mothers may not want boots on the ground because they have PTSD from Iraq and Afghanistan, your daughters and your sons and your daughters want to do this. Okay, they've been trained 24/7, 365 to what? Never actually exercise the training that they've been doing. They are gung ho and ready to go as soon as they get there. Trust and believe that. The IRGC is showing the world in real time how dangerous they are and what they're willing to do. Keep in mind that they are at an extremely weakened state. They are basically degraded to 85 to 90%. They almost have nothing left, but even with that 10%, they are able to effectively close the Strait of Hormuz without even possibly even laying a mine. Now imagine if we didn't conduct this operation. Imagine if they had built their abilities back up to full strength with a strong missile, ballistic missile capability, strong drone capability, so much so that even when we do find out that they're actually in the process of developing a nuclear bomb, we are incapable of stopping them because their defensive posture and their counteroffensive posture is so strong and so dangerous. Then it wouldn't be a matter of if they blackmail the world, it would just be a matter of when. And so we have to be able to stop this now. Look at the effect that it is having on your everyday lives, on the price of everything that everybody complains about so much. They would have an absolute control and authority over how much you spend every single day. What would you do then? Are you then going to authorize a full-on war? Or would you just accept the fact that the IRGC now basically controls 1/5 of the global energy? In fact, a greater market than what the U.S. currently has. That simply cannot stand. It's not only a danger to U.S. interests, but it's a danger to our way of life. And these men and women are going to go ahead and relieve the IRGC of that capability. And you should be backing them 110%.